so I'm just going to play it at like a regular human resolution. Well, you can do that, but the game is going to render itself at 4K and then downscale, which means you're going to get crap performance. We are also not going into...
Hey folks, how's everybody doing tonight? About ready to blow up a meteor is what I'm thinking. We got all of our like wind power over here powering our lasers, but before we go ahead and destroy the meteor and start moving on maybe to a new world, I'm going to take a quick look at the one that we built. First and foremost, this is my house. It's all glass on the outside and electrical and all that. A little bit old-timey on the toilet. The kitchen's, pretty okay, I guess, and then my bedroom where you can look out over the ocean from, from my fancy little bed. Now, of course, first thing I did when we came to the servers, I was doing food, and it ended up changing over. There's Bradley's up there, sadly, Bradley's house, and we'll go take a look in a minute. But one of the first things I did was food, but then after that got kind of taken over by a lot of other people, I started mining. So I built this tunnel down to my mining area, which is underneath Azul's area as well. And this was a easier way for me to transport things to my truck so that I could move them around, my powered cart. Well, this is my stockpile, kind of area down here. It used to be kind of full and it had more stockpiles actually, but I've kind of repurposed them and just gotten rid of them. But this was, of course, all solid at one point, and yeah, we got more back up under there. Yeah, kind of give you an idea, some of the mining we ended up doing, like a lot of mining, It's alright. And then this is my workshop up here. And this is, the tailings are sealed behind walls over here, but it's my, machining bench and the electronics. Hey, there's Azul. We're gonna build a few things because the new update just came out, so I want to see what those are like before we reset the server. And then, got our factory, kiln, stuff like that. And stockpile. And all this stuff over here is Azul's. He actually staked out a pretty cool place just right off the bat. He came down to this kind of crazy shaped area and built this house on the water. And there's his house up there on the cliff, which is really cool. Now we're gonna kind of do this switch back up here to get up to Azul's store. Alright, so back to our quick tour. You see, here's our lasers aimed at the meteor, which hits in 4 days and 4 hours. Here's my exhaust from our workshop. That took me a really long time to make and get that going. Alright. So I'm going to kind of cheat, and we're going to go ahead and fly. I actually haven't done this very often. I got stuck one time and had to. But this way, we can take a look at the world without having to, you know. Without having to wander around. Let's go take a quick peek around at some of the different little houses and stuff. So this is Vishka's. Vishka played a little bit with us, and he set up over here. And there's his store. Beautiful coast. And as we talked about earlier, there's my house. That has the tunnel goes from right there down and kind of cuts through back to over here and empties out, down there. So now there's my house, and here's sadly Bradley's. Bradley specialized in wood and wood cutting and stuff like that pretty early on in the game, and has a really cool house. He spent a lot of time on it. It's like really cool. He's got this whole setup. And then over here we've got Autistic Angel's house is right here. And Nezri's is around here, and Mr. Bismarck. So let's go take a quick look. Whose is this? Is this Mr. Bismarck? This is Fresh Bios, who actually... So let's take a quick look at our map. There's Fresh, and then there's Nezri's garden, but that's not Nezri's house. Nezri's house is behind us. We'll walk over to it real fast. And then we'll take a look at the interstates and all that kind of stuff that we put together for this ruin. Let's see here. It's very pretty planet that was created this time. I'm quite fond of it. We, of course, you only really end up going so far a lot of the time, so we all ended up settling over in this area. But we had quite a bit of wood and food and access to all sorts of stuff, so I was pretty pleased with this one. Anyway, we are just about on to... This is Mr. Bismarck's place. We can go up to his store. He's got his fish and everything set. And here's Nezri's place. She's been milling and stuff like that. See her water wheel. That's pretty awesome. And here's Loki guard. And we got a number of people. Yeah, it's a bunch of the stuff's like Nezri's and Azul the second, and so let's take a quick look at our interstate system. So when we first set up over here, we had to have access to wood easily. And even though I did okay initially, I cleared all the trees out from this area really fast. So built this kind of road that went through here and through over here and down this ramp And through this way over to these woods over here, and then finally, eventually, went all the way up to, as you can see here, went all the way up to this little, this tip top area up here where you could come and get trees if necessary. So then, after we didn't really need lumber that much, we ended up making a road to the best possible place for our for oil that we could find. So there's my powered cart, my manufacturer, my oil refinery. So we built this interstate that kind of goes over here, some concrete and stone that kind of goes over here and goes to these pumps that we're, as you can tell, have plenty of barrels ready to go, right? And I dare not mention even how many times I've had to figure out how to get my poor powered cart off the bottom of the ocean there. But it was a number. I'll put it to you that way. It was a pretty large number. And that's our little community. Here in a little bit, we're gonna blow up the meteor, you know, and just kind of get that done, and then, you know, probably download a copy of the server or of this world and hang on to it, and then start working on getting a new one set up, because the expansion just came out, or the latest update just came out, 7.4. So there's a bunch of new vehicles and stuff like that in it, and kind of curious to see how those work. And I believe that they changed a bunch of the fuel values and things like that. But yeah, here's our refinery. So obviously that's where you make stuff like plastics and fuels and epoxy and things like that. And I've, you know, carry these things back and forth between where they need to go and where they're going and the raw resources and all that jazz. Yeah, we're getting ready to go though. It's going to be something else. And that's kind of a quick tour, so I'm actually going to be back closer to time. So we'll be back in a little bit.